This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. Delighted to be joined by Mr. Josh Warrington. I have to refer to you as the former IBF champion.
That's right, yeah. Undefeated, former world champion. World ranks #1, but former world champion. Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's fucking void, isn't it?
It was a reminder that you had the belt for so long anyway behind you. Josh, last week was like a bit of a manic week. There was a lot going on and there was a lot of things being said. And I know you've had a little bit of criticism over vacating the title, but you had to do what was best for your career at the end of the day. Just talk to me about why ultimately you decided that vacating that IBF title was your only option to do.
It could go on for a long time here, KUGAN, but this coronavirus and COVID situation doesn't done us any favours whatsoever. I'm not going to blame it all entirely on that. Obviously, there's a few other reasons why we've come to this situation. But cut a long story short, at the start of 2020, we were lined up to fight Kanju in the unification fight set at Edinley. Obviously, pandemic came in, overtook that, shut all the boxing. Shows started coming back towards September, back in the year. Then I was wondering when we was going to be back out ourselves. Got to a stage of it was looking like we were going to be out at Christmas time. There was talks of maybe going on a show with AJ. There were going to be a show in the Middle East with AJ, and then that all didn't fall through. He still went along in Christmas time. Then we get this fight lined up with Kanju. Now, I've wanted that fight for a long time, and I wanted to fight either Kanju, Gary Russell, or Shakur, but obviously Shakur moved up and Navarrete became the WBO champ. So Eddie had lined up trying to get this Kanju fight. It's been going on like near on 10 months. Get to around 20th of December, everything's more or less finalised. I mean, I've got the artwork still here on my phone. The poster's about to go out. It's going to be announced Christmas Eve, then it turns to Boxing Day, then it turns to a couple of days before New Year's Eve. You start wondering what is actually happening here. The fight was meant to be for my IBF, the Ring Magazine belt, and Kanju was getting elevated to the Super World Champion because Leo Santa Cruz boxed at Super Feather, so we're understanding that he'd give up the belt, and there's 3 major world titles on the line anyway. Gets to around 2nd December, I'm thinking, it's not happening here. Something's not going wrong. Something's not going right. Then, about 10 days ago, a week of Thursday ago, he pulls out the fight, does Kanju. So that's frustrating. He's postponed the fight for whatever reason. Now, things have come out from his camp that he wants a crowd there, he wants more money, the super belt's not on the line. I don't know, mate. I fucking still can't get my head around it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a massive fight. It's still going to get a big payday. But for whatever reason, he didn't want that fight straight away. So all of a sudden, our pal from Sheffield, Mr. Barry, is getting a little bit frustrated now. I understand that he's frustrated because he's made himself mandatory again, and he's in that position and he wants to fight. I understand that. We all want to fight. It's frustrating times, but all of a sudden, he's throwing his toys out pram. Oh, if this is not happening, then I'm exercising my right to be mandatory. So all of a sudden, we're back. Not kind of back to the corner, but it's like, what do we want to do? We've been pushing for this fight for a long, long, long time. Now, I want to keep on fighting the big names. I want to keep on fighting the other champions to prove that I am the solid #1. You want to keep on getting them notches on your record, getting them kill streaks on your record. Now, our initial plan was to fight Kanju, deal with him, and then after that, if we could have gone straight into a fight with Gary Russell Jr., that would have been fantastic. But if we would have had to take care of our mandatory in terms of kid, then so be it. But because he's forced his rights and got his legal team involved and all that, they've said, oh, well, you can't have... you can't keep hold of the belt because you're fighting on February the 13th now. originally Mauricio Lara was never part of the plan. You know what I mean? People are like, you vacated your fucking title to fight Mauricio Lara. What's all this about? It's like, hold on a minute, slow down. 2 weeks. All this camp has been prepared for Kanju. All of a sudden, like I say, it's pulled out. We still need to go out. We've been preparing. Now we'll fight Mauricio Lara, and then, you know, speaking to Wed and getting the team together, the fight against Shu will go ahead in April, May, and it will involve, you know, his world title and the Ring Magazine belt, which, if you people know the boxing, they know that you only fight for the ring belt when it's the best fighting the best. You know, the Ring Magazine looks over all the organisations, you know, all the 4 main governing bodies, and suits the best of the best. And I'm ranked number 1, he's ranked number 3. The only way that you fight for that belt is when one fights 2 or one fights 3, and that's that. So that is something that I want to achieve. And it were a case of, well, do we push all that to one side and take care of our mandatory, or do we continue our goal, continue our journey, and tick off the boxes that we want, what we've set out, fight them fights and push the IBF to one side. And you know what? That's what we've had to do. But a lot of people are like, oh, you've vacated. Listen, it's for the long run. It's for the long run. It's so I can go in and fight these bigger names, you know, like I say, your Jews. Then after that, I want your Gary Russell Juniors, your Navarretes. It's about making the big fights, KUGAN. That's all. That's what it is. Simple as that. In a long story short, there.
Well, okay. So I've got a few questions here. First of all, was there no option to have your mandatory fight with Galahad ahead of your fight with Mauricio Lara? Was that never an option to do that?
What do you mean?
Well, if you had taken a fight to defend your IBF title against Kid Galahad instead of having your fight with Lara, was that not an option?
I just think because we scheduled to fight in April. You know, like I said, KUGAN 10 days ago, everything was rosy. Everything was meant to go ahead as me fighting in the unification fight. So, you know, we're in camp, we're prepped. Listen, if it would have been a case of, right, he's pulled out, Kid can step in straight away, then that might have been an option. But I understand that wouldn't have just happened overnight. You know, with purses and demands and this and other, that would have added another stumbling block on him. We might not have been getting out there until May, June time. Who knows? But like I say, with the other fight still there, ready to go, it's like, well, you know, we could have maybe taken care of business, but it's like, how long are you going to wait? And like I say, I want to be fighting the big fights, you know, challenging the other champions. And listen, everyone thinks, oh, that's it, it's done to death. You know, if he goes on, wins IBF, and I go on and on my route and do what I do, who knows, we might not, you know, fight again later down the line in a unified title fight. Now, he's just desperate to get it done now. But I'm content, I'm relaxed, I'm chilled. Obviously, I never wanted to fucking give him a belt in the way that I have done. I'd rather give him a belt up, you know, going out on my back or going out on my shield. But it just isn't, you know, in the long run, it'll all be worth it.
In that recent interview that Kid Galahad done on IFL TV, some of the comments that he made was regarding some other fighters. You know, if people like Anthony Joshua are having to fight Kubrat Pulev because that's his mandatory, not a fight that he particularly probably wanted, but it's his mandatory. Canelo's having to fight Yildirim when he probably doesn't want to, but it's a mandatory. He was comparing that situation to yourself.
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
I don't know what else to say. KUGAN, you know, Canelo's Canelo, AJ's AJ. You know, that's a different career path, and it's not like he's just boxed, for instance, I don't know, one of his former opponents, and then he's going to box him again, like a fight later. It's not in that situation. It's not like AJ's boxed Pulev, and then he's going to have to fight him again. It'd be like kind of like AJ's boxed Pulev because he's mandatory. Then he has another fight, and then he's going to box Pulev again. I've never turned a fight down, KUGAN. You know, my first defence were Carlframpton. My second defence were my mandatory and kid. I've never turned a fight down. It's like I've taken care of business there. It's like, it's not like I've not boxed him already once. I boxed him fucking 3 times altogether. So obviously I've become an obsession in him. I'm a demon in his head. Like, I can sleep at night. He fucking can't. Every single interview he does, he talks about me. It's an obsession. It's an obsession. Now his fan base and his cheerleaders can say, oh well, he didn't. You know, it's robbery. It's bollocks. You know, when you come down to the punch statistics of CompuBox, landing more punches than him. It's there in history. Josh Warrington won the fight. On the night, there was no remorse, no regret from him, head down. There's stuff that he said after from himself and Dom, all surprise, fair play, best luck, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, I'm going to take Gary Russell's statement here. It says, it's clout moves. He's using my name to keep himself relevant. Any other fight that he's going to be part of, no one gives a fuck. Let's have it right, cool. He's boxed on Kell Brooks shows for a long period of time to keep himself relevant. Without myself, the big paydays and the big paychecks aren't there because obviously it makes a big fight. It can blah, 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 Yorkshire Derby, all that bollocks. But it's not like I've turned him down completely. It's not like, I've had a mandatory and I'm sidestepping it. I've already taken care of business once. How many fucking times do you want me to do it? I beat him again, and I'm pretty confident I'd beat him again because last time I played his game. And I still beat him. If he played mine and we stood and had it in the middle of the ring, he knows he'd get beat. There'd be nothing else he could do to beat me. It's like, it's a box ticks and move forward. I'm settled and content. It's like, I don't have to prove anything to anyone else. I've proved it to myself. I've beat him. It's there on paper. Now let me carry on going on my journey. Like I say, your likes of Canelo and AJ and that, they've taken care of their mandatories and they move forward. But it seems that he gets, a little bit of special treatment. He throws his toys out the pram and throws his toys out the pram, and that's that.
I mean, I wasn't pointing out. I wouldn't have pointed out those kind of comparisons. I was using what he uses comparisons in mandatory.
I'm not having to go at you, Coog. I'm not having to go at you, mate. Don't worry.
In a statement that Matchroom put out regarding you vacating the title, I mean, they not solely put, but the main point that they put was that the IBF refused to sanction a unification fight with you and Kanzu, but they were never going to sanction a fight when he holds the regular title, were they?
Well, there was originally. Like I say, it was all signed, sealed, and it just wasn't delivered.
Sorry, Josh, wasn't that with view to him being elevated as a super champion? Then that would have been obviously what they would have deemed a legitimate unification between a super champion and your IBF title.
You are right. You are very right there, Kugan. But my understanding and the emails that I've seen had shown that Leo Santa Cruz was willing to be a champion in recess. So that's how far down the line we were. Like I say, on the artwork that I've got here, it's Ring Magazine, WBF Super, and IBF World titles. It's all there on the artwork. That was the understanding that it was going to be the Super. That's why it had been made, and up until Christmas, Kit knows he were willing to just let it ride, but then for whatever reason, and this is where fucking, the politics of boxing goes another level. Like, I can't fucking understand how you can move up to super feather, get knocked the fuck out, and then come back down and have a safety net of still keeping your world title in, man. It's like, it just blags my head a little bit. There's a lot of hands in each other's pockets and down people's trousers for that to happen. But, I can't understand how he's been able to keep that. Like I say, it was at a point of he's going up to super feather, he's going to challenge. That therefore he'll be vacating his belt, and even after he's been knocked out, it's all right. He's still going to be a champion in recess because I don't think he's going to be staying at super featherweight anyway. And then just over the Christmas period, for whatever reason, he decided he didn't want to be a champion in recess no more, and he wants to keep hold of that belt. So obviously that threw everything into a little dismay. But the fight still would have been for the Ring Magazine belt.
When you're talking about guys like Kanzu and Gary Russell, etc., how motivated are you to be fighting Lara? Because it's obviously not a fight that is your first choice, but you need to fight. You are fighting Feb 13th, but where's your motivation level to fight? No disrespect to Lara, but someone like Lara.
Mate, these are the testing times. They are the testing times, because these are them fights where if you ever wanted an upset, then it's like, you know, it's these kind of situations that bring upsets in, because you can easily lose focus. You can easily take your mind off the job. You can easily drop down your preparation, especially in these final few weeks. I mean, this is a fucking weird situation that I'm in. I've never been in a situation in the last 6 or 7 years of being on titles where I've been 4 weeks out from a fight and the opponent's changed. Now, I understand that happens. I understand that these things happen and the show still needs to go on, but especially when you're talking about the level of fight compared to where we've gone down to. Now, this guy is coming, you know, tough Mexican. He's won the lottery. The guy's going to get a payday. You know, there's no pressure on him. Turns up and boxes out of his skin, knocks me the fuck out. And he's an hero. He goes back to Mexico, an absolute hero. Life's changed completely. But, man, I've got to make sure that I stay focused. And to be fair, this is why I've not got so like worked up and carried on social media over the last 5 days or so, because she's got to still keep the head. I've still got a plan and a job. And listen, I want to put on an explosive performance on 13th. So, you know, you're taking little percentages away by focusing on other shit, what's going on. Fuck that. I've still got a fight on February 13th. So I'm staying focused on that. And I know what you're saying. It's not on the same level as opposition as like a Gary Russell's or a Kanju. But like I say, it's still someone in the opposite corner who's going to try punch me in the head. And it's like, in order for me to go forward and these big fights to carry on happening, got to beat him. They've got to beat him, as simple as that. So that's my motivation, man. I mean, the shelf life as a professional fighter is not a long time. And the stage that I'm at, I couldn't afford to be getting knocked the fuck out and having like a 2-year rebuilding, because in the stages that we are at with the pandemic and everything else, and how quickly shows are being put together, that's what you're looking at. You can't afford to be having that. You need to keep on winning. It doesn't matter if you've got fucking Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck in opposite corner. You've still got to beat them, and you've got to beat them in style.
You know what? I'll take your point when you say that, because it's fights like these. And I mean, I'm only mentioning here Anthony Joshua because of Galahad's reference to Anthony Joshua, but I'm sure there were people asking Anthony Joshua what was his motivation to be fighting Andy Ruiz at the time, when there's Deontay Wilder and Fury there in the pipeline. We saw what happened there. So it's fights such as these you're talking about that you have to be 100% on the ball, not be complacent, because, like I said, they've got nothing to lose. You've got everything to lose.
That's it, most definitely. You know, I'll be laid in bed, I'll be sat on the sofa, and I'll be watching bits of Lara, and I'm fucking building him up like a machine, and I'm not taking into consideration the opponent is boxed. I'm seeing the opponent is boxed and putting him down as a world champion. You know, that's why this kind of mindset you've got to have. You've got to have that focused mindset of like, this geezer, he's the toughest, he's the hardest, he's the strongest, there's no fear. And just makes me think a little bit sharper, stay a little bit more focused, gets a little bit of adrenaline going. And obviously, sometimes you can get a little bit too complacent, a little bit too relaxed and think, oh yeah, it's just a given this. But like I say, it's sport. This, you know, upsets happen. And it happens when you fucking take your eye off the ball. So I am prepared to do that. I've been out the ring like 15 months. And, you know, start of 2020, momentum was massively in my stride. You know, I come off the 2 rounds with Sofian's coach. I'd had 3 massive world title defences. You know, I'd just been gifted my fucking IBF ring. Look at that. For 3 successful defences, I'd been gifted one of them. and you know we're about to go unify and then take our journey around the world. But you know, obviously stumbling blocks have happened. I need to resume that, and the way I resume it by not taking the eye off the ball, just stay focused, make sure I put like a top performance in Feb 13, and go from there, Coog.
Just coming back to this belt situation, obviously we've got a situation where Jazza Dickens has been pitched with Kid Galahad now. Whether Jazza Dickens takes the IBF route or the WBO route, which is obviously well ranked in, we don't know yet. But what do you think about that fight between Jazza Dickens and Kid Galahad?
It's rematch, isn't it? It's rematch. I mean, for me, Jazza should want that fight. He should want that fight. He should be screaming for that. I mean, I know Jazz has been calling me out alongside everyone, every man and his dog. I think I've been called out by everyone last year, including Andrew Selby, Jay McDonald, fucking Jazza, a couple of guys from States. Everyone's shouting my name, but Jazza should want that fight. You know, he should want that fight because obviously, Kid's got the KO over Jazza. I think after that fight is when Kid tested positive for his protein shake. So Jazza should want that fight. He should want that fight, and he should want to get revenge. And especially with a world title, that should give him a little bit more motivation. I think over his last few fights, Jazza has made a significant improvement. You know, when you talk back to his other fights, like when he boxed Rigondo and when he's boxed like Tommy Ward, I think Feather is putting some really good performances over the golden contracts against, you know, the fighters in there. So yeah, man, it should be up for that one, and I think it'd be a technical fight. I think it'd be closer than the first one, that's for sure.
I mean, to give people some context of when that first fight was, it was quite a long time ago. It was the same day as Mayweather fought Canelo.
Right.
Which was, I think, around maybe 7 or 8 years ago.
15, 14, something like that.
It might have even been 13. I'm not sure. It was when Mayweather fought Canelo. It was on the same day, I remember.
Yeah, long time ago. But like I say, Jazza should want that fight. That should be a motivation right there. You know, if it seems like because things don't get shouted out as much and because it don't make as much drama, you know, that could easily fucking have as much spice to it because, like I say, he's beating there and then he's tested fucking positive after. I'd be fucking screaming and shouting if I were in Jazz's position, you know. But we'll see what happens.
Josh, you don't rule out fighting the winner of that at some point.
We'll see what happens, Coog. We'll see what happens. Like I say, ideally, I'd like to go this one, you, Guy Russell, and then after that, maybe so. Maybe so. I would like to win the old belt back. Navarrete had said he'd love to have a fight with me. I mean, fucking hell. He's like, Giggs has had about, I don't know, 32 fights and 28 of them been by KO. That excites me, like, see if we can take some of them big blows. But
division. It's a serious division.
Yeah, it's a serious division. And then obviously, you know, there's other carrots what you get dangled in front of you. It's like, I'd set a goal in 2020 to have like 4 fights and then see what else I want to achieve. And obviously that got pushed to one side. Things don't always go your way. There's nothing can do about that. I'm not going to cry about it, but I think once you get them goals out of the way, then maybe come back and take them old titles, maybe take over rematches, and then so be it. But you'll have to ask me that question by end of year, cool? Because like I say, you know, this moment in time, there's other fights out there what a lot more exciting, and I'm sure a lot of people would rather see me in, to be honest with you. But like I say, when I turned pro, we had fucking, sorry, not when I turned pro, when I won the world title, we had Santa Cruz, Valdez, Guy Russell Jr. in this division. I'm thinking, fuck me. You know, my first defence, Carl Frampton, like I said, kid. Second defence, then in long, you know, frustrating few months, we waited and waited and waited. We tried to get fights over the line with Valdez, Santa Cruz the first time, Shakur Stevenson, couldn't get it done. And then, you know, I ended up having to coach. And we re-signed with Ed, and Ed's fucking like convinced me that he can make these fights happen, and you put your trust into your team, and it's just get them done, man. Get them big fights done, and after that, I'll be happy to fight whoever. And it'll probably get to a stage where fucking belts don't even need to be on the line, So we'll see it end of this year. I might get knocked the fuck out by this by this Mexican, and I might be screaming, "Please give him a shot. Let's have the rematch."
well, hopefully not, and hopefully you do come through February the 13th. Just finally, Josh, your old friend Carl Frampton bids to become a free weight world champion.
Yes.
In the same month on Feb 27th against Herring. You obviously would want him to do that.
Yeah, listen, he's got my full support. I mean, it's not going to be an easy task, an easy feat. I know that Carl's boxed people as big as Herring, but I just think he's got a little bit more skill set to himself as Herring than compared to like the other opponents he's been in with. So in terms of height, it's going to be a tough ask. I think if Carl can win, the first 3 or 4, get that distancing in, then I think it's Carl's to win. But just don't want to let Herring dictate with that range he's got and that physicality. But listen, Carl's got the boxing brains. He's a strong fighter, and listen, I'd love him to go on and make his history free-weight world champ. So right behind you, pal.
Okay, Mr. Warrington, have you got anything else you'd like to add before we go?
I think that's it, mate. I think all it's covered. Like, if you'd have asked me about 10 days ago, I was fucking fuming. I did an interview with the Matchroom team, and it got condensed from 25 minutes to around 3 minutes because of all fucking swearing and carrying on what going on. But like I say, my head's just focused on this one now. I've got a job to do, so pretty much relaxed, I'm just hoping that, like I say, things go the way that I want them to after this one. Get the big fights, and like fighting the likes of Kanju, beating him, it would put me in position to be the next challenger to fight Leo Santa Cruz, and I would love that fight as well. I was seeing him fight Carl Frampton. Watched him fight Frampton in Vegas on the rematch. I sometimes can't understand how things like this are done, where you can move up divisions and keep all your belts. It's fucking frustrating, but let's hope that these guys step up to the plate, get all these fucking COVID out of the way, and get crowds back, and have these big nights again. But no, fuck all else to say. I'm boring myself now. So,
how's your dad, Josh?
He's very well. He's obviously had to keep himself, he's had to be careful of himself because he's a very sociable person, is my old fella. And obviously these lockdowns, you can't do so. And obviously we're a gym full of fighters as well, including Reece Mould, who's fighting on my undercard. He's got Maxi Hughes, who's had a massive year in 2020. He can't afford to be getting viruses and passing on to him. And him in himself, he can't fucking afford to be getting a virus. He's not the healthiest of people. So, he's been a little bit frustrated. But apart from that, mate, he's good. He's always laughing, cracking a joke. I might see on social media. He's doing a bit of dancing and whatnot. But, he's all right, mate. He's all right.
Good to hear. Okay, Josh Warrington, thank you very much for giving IFL TV some time this Monday morning. And, obviously not too long away from, you're kind of signalling the start of boxing for Matchroom anyway. MTK have got a show the week before, but Matchroom shows kick off 13th of February. We don't know where yet. But, it's going to quickly approach. So, best of luck in the rest of your camp.
Are you going to be there? No, I don't think you will be, will you? No.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to probably say no because my child is due 2 days after your fight.
Yeah. We're thinking about that, yeah.
But I'm sure I'll speak to you that week anyway.
No problem, mate. Listen, best of luck for, not best of luck for that. No, everything's going to go smoothly and stuff like that. But yeah, you stay focused on that, mate. More important things, isn't there? And listen, I'm sure we'll catch up again soon, mate.
Yeah, I'll definitely speak to you the week of that fight anyway. So appreciate your time, mate.
Nice one. Cheers, KUGAN.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, mate.